Good afternoon, I'm Matt Gasper, and welcome into the season finale of the Charlie Weis Press Conference Show. On today's show, we'll talk about the Jayhawks' disappointing record, preview the Hawks' final game of the 2012 campaign against the West Virginia Mountaineers, and talk a little Notre Dame football. Well, just a little more than 1 month ago, West Virginia was 5-0, ranked 5th in the nation, and had the Heisman frontrunner in quarterback Geno Smith. Then the wheels fell off, and the Mountaineers lost their next 5 games. And until last week's victory at Iowa State, West Virginia still was not bowl eligible. Now, with a 6-5 record, they may no longer have a Heisman Trophy nominee or a Big 12 championship in their sights, but this is still one of the most offensive and electric teams KU will face this season. Number 1, Tavon Austin, is about as dynamic as they come.
He is just blazing fast, too. You know, so he's a very unusual combination. And then probably the scariest thing that you see, and, you know, this is not coach speak, you're sitting and you're watching the tape of the Oklahoma game. And Oklahoma, I have a lot of respect for on defense, and he made them look silly. I mean, and if he can make Oklahoma's defense look silly running the ball, that is a scary proposition. So he runs with toughness, he runs with power. So somebody forgot to tell him he weighs 170, because that's not the way he plays. But he is fast and he is quick, and he's a really good player. And he's tough. It would be tough for me to give you an analogy of him as a player, because he's usually they'll say quicker than fast. That's not the case here. He's quick and he's fast.
The Mountaineers' senior quarterback Geno Smith has had a sensational season both passing and rushing the football. Even though his Heisman-like numbers dwindled when the team began losing, he hasn't stopped putting up numbers that just make you shake your head sometimes. Smith has thrown 37 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions, including one monster game against the Baylor Bears that included 8 touchdown passes and more than 650 passing yards. He's also completed 20 or more passes in every game this season. Coach Weis believes his Heisman numbers are down now, but that's thanks to in part with all the other offensive weapons that surround him.
I mean, he can sling it against everyone. You know, they're averaging 345 passing a game. So it isn't like people have come in and just shut them down. But the thing is, the running game has become so much more a part of their offense. He doesn't have to win the game by himself. In the past, I think it's been more dependent on him winning the game by throwing the ball. And I don't think that, you know, I think this year their offense has been more complementary, where they can now run it more efficiently.
Geno Smith has 2 of the most explosive weapons in college football to throw to. The duo of Stedman Bailey and Tavon Austin have combined for more than 200 receptions, 2,500 yards, and 33 touchdowns this season. To compare that to Kansas wide receivers, the Jayhawks wideouts have fewer than 1,000 yards and 0 receiving touchdowns. Tavon Austin is also the Mountaineers' kickoff and punt returner and has returned 1 of each for a touchdown this season. When the ball's in his hand, anything can happen.
I mean, this guy is just a special player. And you know, the sad part about it is almost every week I'm coming and talking to you about a special player. Well, this guy ranks right up there, right at the top of the list. I mean, it doesn't make a difference whether he's playing running back or whether he's playing wide receiver. I mean, he is just a dynamic player. I mean, 5'9", 171, you could throw that right out the window. Okay, because at running back, you know, he's as good as I've seen there. At wide receiver, he's good there. Okay, he comes in motion and they do this little touch pass where the quarterback doesn't even catch the shotgun snap. He taps it forward to him. Okay, and he's their kickoff returner and punt returner. Other than that, he provides no worth at all to their team. I mean, but this kid is really, really good. And the scary things is you're sitting on your couch at home on Friday and you're watching the Iowa State-West Virginia game. You know, watch him take a punt return back for a touchdown. Then you watch him catch a little ball in the flat, and the next thing you know, everyone got angles on him, and it's just, I mean, he's just by everybody.
We'll take a short break, but when we come back, we'll tell you about the milestone James Sims is moving in on. And a little bit later, we'll hear what Coach Weis thinks about his former team playing for a national championship. Stay with us.
Losing weight's a lot harder. I have to work at it every day. But with every step, I lower my risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And that makes every step, every choice, every day very much worth the effort.
Hi, hon. How was your run?
Hard, but I hung in there and did my 2 miles. How was your workout?
Great. Dinner's ready. I hope you worked up an appetite.
Health female like this, you better believe it. Thanks for keeping us on track.
Hey, every step matters. We can do this.
And it's very much worth the effort.
Learn how you can help stop diabetes by losing weight, eating healthy, and staying active. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES.
Every year, 2 million kids play doctor by taking pills not prescribed to them. Talk to your kids about the dangers of prescription drug abuse. The partnership at drugfree.org.
I never should have clicked on that link. It promised to unlock the secret of male enhancement, but it didn't. All it did was brag to my entire friend list that I had found a cure for the average male and that they should try it too. You know, once you spam your mom with a message telling her to increase the size of her manhood, family dinners have been a little weird.
And welcome back to the show. We seem to talk about him about every single week. Despite missing the first 3 games of the season with a suspension, halfback James Sims still leads the Big 12 in rushing yards per game and is 14th nationally with an average of 119 yards. He's just 44 yards away from having his first 1,000-yard rushing season as a Jayhawk. And against a West Virginia defense that has not held an opponent to fewer than 30 points in any game this season, Sims shouldn't have any problem accomplishing that feat.
I sat here and I said, look, I don't know what everyone else is talking about, but this kid is really good. He can run inside, he can run outside, he can pick up a blitz, he can run, he can catch. I don't know what he can't do. I said, does he run sub 4.5? No. But he's a really, really good player. And if you're a really, really good player here, there's a better than even chance that you're going to have a chance to be a really good player there. You know, I think that James Sims, his football will not end. His football will not end next year when, you know, he finishes up his senior year. His football year will continue.
Like Tobin Opura moving from running back to defensive end, another Jayhawk has shifted positions during his tenure at KU. Former quarterback and now slot receiver Cale Pick has had an illustrious career. Though his numbers this season include just 25 receptions for 380 yards and no touchdowns, Coach Weis can always expect the same thing from Pick day in and day out.
Consistency. Same guy every day. You know, he comes to work every day. You know, the coaching phrase, he'd be no disrespect intended, he'd be labeled a blue collar player. Just bring your lunch pail every day and go to work. The same guy every day. And what more can you ask from a player than to come and work your butt off every single day and prepare every single day like it's the last game of your career? I'd say as much as anyone on this team, I'd say he would be right at the top of that list. I have a lot of respect for Cale Pick.
Season ends at 2-10 or 1-11. This is not what Coach Weis had in mind when he accepted the head coaching job at Kansas. However, getting a W on Saturday would do a lot for this program in turning it around and helping head Kansas in the right direction. The Jayhawks haven't won a conference game since beating Colorado more than 2 years ago and haven't won a true road game since a win at UTEP earlier in that same season. Breaking an 18-game conference losing streak and getting a win on the road would certainly be a step in the right direction.
If you win the game, just the psychological lift, okay, would be more than anything else. The psychological lift, you know, sometimes you guys play with that weight on the burden, the weight on your shoulders that would be lifted, and then okay, let's go, let's move on, let's go. You know, because there's still things that have been left unanswered that until you answer them, you know, there are going to be question marks psychologically. You know, and I think that the framework will be different, will already be more positive, but still, until they do it, they still haven't done it, you know.
Immediately, and I mean immediately following Saturday's game in Morgantown, Coach Weis and the rest of the Kansas coaching staff will hit the road to continue recruiting for next year's team. With 27 open slots for next season, Coach intends to find 27 players, both from the high school and junior college levels, who are looking to come to Kansas, play immediately, and help turn the program around.
I can't recruit fast enough. If I could be recruiting that Saturday night, I'd do it then. I'm not kidding when I said I can't get out there fast enough. See, I'm a little weird as a head coach now. Most of those head coaches don't like this recruiting stuff. You know, I don't like being away from home and all that other stuff, but I do. You know, I think that recruiting is a lifeline. That's what I think. And I think that's what the one thing that they should expect from me, that I believe that I'm gonna have to just be a grinder. And that's what I intend to do.
When we come back, Coach Weis will tell us his thoughts on Notre Dame's successful season, and I'll give you my national championship prediction. We'll be right back.
And still single.
Add that you have this annoying accent, and finding Mr. Right can be really tough.
We decided to pass a link around Facebook, trying to meet people in our area.
Well, they just assumed that we were virus or spam.
No one wanted to click it.
Harder than gaining it, but with every step, I lower my risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And that makes every step very much worth the effort.
Learn how you can help stop diabetes. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES.
NBA player, and now, so am I. That's the power of family. That's why I support Thanks USA, which provides scholarships for the families of our troops. Give to Thanks USA for stronger families and a stronger future.
I don't know what's in second or third place in most people's lives, but I know what's in first, our children.
Native American youth are the most at-risk population in this country.
And that's why I created the Center for Native American Youth.
We are working with tribes and families to improve the lives of Native American children, and most of all, promote hope.
We focus on preventing teen suicide and shining a light on the challenges Native youth face.
Please help us build better opportunities for Native American children. Visit our website.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.
Welcome back to the show. In the loss to Iowa State on senior night, Coach Weis used a combination of Michael Cummings and Dane Christ at quarterback. While Cummings was just 2 for 5 and rushed for an additional 28 yards, Chris completed 9 of 20 pass attempts and threw for 156 yards and a touchdown. With this being the final game of the season, expect a similar style of attack from the KU offense with both Michael and Dane.
We don't have a complete guy right now, I think, but between the two of them, I thought that I thought we got pretty good production out of the quarterback position. The game didn't turn out that way. But I think that we got good production out of both of them. And, you know, as we're evolving until we get that person that we feel is, you know, is more complete, I think that gives us the best chance of competing to win.
State was not known for their explosive offense, but they still lit up the Kansas defense for more than 550 total yards and topped the 50-point plateau for the first time all season. If Kansas doesn't show up this Saturday against West Virginia, the playmakers of Smith, Bailey, Austin, and halfback Andrew Bowie could have career games. It's been a rough month for the Mountaineers, and they'll be looking for any chance to go out in style on Senior Day and boost their bowl credentials.
I was very disappointed with how the game went against Iowa State. You know, if we play a game, look, if we don't show up against these guys, it'll be 100-0. I mean, because you know, they're not going to take the pedal off the metal now. I mean, that foot's going to be pushed all the way to the floor now. So if you don't show up, it could be a long, hard day. You know, but you know, just like I've wanted from day one, I want to go out there and I want to slug it out for 60 minutes and let the chips fall where they may.
Before Charlie Weis was hired as the Kansas head coach prior to this season, he had a pair of offensive coordinator positions for the Florida Gators and Kansas City Chiefs. His big job was as the Notre Dame head coach for 5 seasons, where he led the Irish to back-to-back bowl games in 2005 and 2006. Charlie's lone bowl win, however, was in the Hawaii Bowl in 2008. 2009 was his last year with the Irish, and after finishing with a record of just 6-6, he was let go. Now, 3 years later, the Irish are a perfect 12-0, number 1 in the nation, and all set to square off against the winner of the SEC championship game for the national title. Coach Weis couldn't be more pleased about his former team's success and issued this statement. And of course, the players have done a great job to achieve their 12-0 record and number 1 standing. I have personal relationships with several of the older players and will always support them. I simply want to wish them good luck. And that wraps up this season finale of the Charlie Weis Press Conference Show. I hope you've enjoyed the ride as much as I have. Despite the record, it's still been a fun time. Tip-off on Saturday in Morgantown against the Mountaineers is set for 1:30 Central Time on Fox Sports Net. And as for the BCS National Championship game, here's my quick prediction. Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC Championship game this weekend. Then the Bulldogs go on to beat Notre Dame down in Miami 27-17 to win the BCS National Championship. I'm Matt Gasper, and until next season, rock chalk, Jayhawk.